Hello survivors, and thanks for stopping by. My name's Mike, this is Chaos Cabin, and this is a console gaming channel. So, you're playing 7 Days to Die, but you keep dying in the first day or two. So, I'm going to teach you some of the things you need to do to survive that critical first couple of days. I'll probably follow that up with a video on how to survive the first week and then the first Horde night. The first day or two is very critical. The first thing you need to do is gather as much wood, stone, and fiber as you can. Also, look to the biome you're in. The biome is in 7 Days to Die, assuming that you've picked the Navezgane map. There's snow, which is brutal. You need to get out of there. There's burnt forest, which is also pretty brutal. You need to get out of there. And then there is the wasteland, also pretty brutal. So get out of there. If you're in one of those, and it'll be obvious, run till you get on a road and just run towards the center of the map. If you're in the snow biome, look at your compass and run west and south until you get into an area that's either forest or ideally kind of on the edge of forest and desert. In the desert, there's a lot of cactus plants. Those are both edible and drinkable. So that's the best place to be. But the first thing you need to do is gather that stone, gather that wood, gather that fiber, and look for a place to hole up, because as soon as night falls, which is 2200 hours, the zombies become very aggressive and very fast. During the day they shuffle, you can outrun them. At night you can't outrun them. So that's the first thing to do, is find a place to hole up and collect those 3 items, because that's the basis for your tools, your weapons, and your building supplies to make a safe place to stay. So, without further ado, let's roll the tape and we'll look at that. Alright, so it looks like we've been dropped in a pretty good biome. It's not hot, it's not cold, we're not in the blasted region, so we'll work with this. We even got lucky enough that there's a little house over there. Now right now they're throwing up some little hints, but they're very little hints. It's basically saying stay alive and find the traitor. You can find some hints along the way on this game by looking at the edge of the screen. However, my finding is most people look at the center of the screen because that's where everything's going on. So I'm doing a 360 spin around to make sure nothing is sneaking up on me, and I suggest you do that often. Here I'm collecting fiber by smacking it with my fist. You do that by pulling the right trigger. And then you collect these. That's goldenrod. You can make a tea with that later in the game. So we'll collect these items, and already we've encountered a bear. We're a few minutes into the game and we have a bear. You cannot win a fight against a bear without a high-powered gun, and it takes a number of rounds. So the best thing to do now is hide from the bear. Figure out where the bear is. There's the bear down the road. So I think the best thing to do, that bear is not looking at us, so he hasn't seen us yet. I'm going to run around the house, get a better look at that bear, scope this house out a little bit, because this is going to be where we hide tonight. I'm sneaking around here to make sure he has not decided to come this way and eat me. I'm looking in the house. I want to make sure there's nothing in there that will eat me. Okay, I'm good. Nothing in here. I'm going to close the door so nothing sneaks in behind me. They can tear through the door, but I'll hear them, and so I'll have a little bit of warning. I'm looking to see what's out there. There's nothing but that bear so far. I'll check this cabin out a little bit. It's a small cabin. At this stage of the game, that's good because it's hard to fortify anything big. So we're going to fortify this cabin, but for right now, I've got to make my bedroll and lay the bedroll down. If you don't lay a bedroll down and you get killed, then you will just randomly spawn anywhere on the map and you'll lose any progress you've made to the location you were in. You'll also lose your backpack. That's the large part up here with all the spaces. Your tool belt or quick menu is the one I'm moving the bedroll into. You'll lose that. You drop it, and it may be so far across the map that it's just not practical to go back and get it. So I'm going to place this down. Notice it takes 2 blocks high instead of just 1. And so I throw that down using the left trigger. Now I'm going to go out here and you can see where that bear is, because I don't want to get killed the first hour of the in-game. And he is still out there, oblivious to me. And so, yeah, he's out there, still out there by the road. Alright, I'm going to leave Mr. Bear alone. And I'm going to go around behind the house, get the house between me and Mr. Bear, and then I'm going to collect some resources. So for now, the first thing you need is a stone axe. Stone axe takes 4 rocks, 2 pieces of fiber, and 2 pieces of wood. And whenever you see these bird nests, collect the feathers. Those will be extremely valuable later in the game. So for now, again, clicking the right trigger to collect fiber. There's cactus, that's food and drink, but you can't collect it until you have a stone axe or you'll bloody yourself up and cause yourself a lot of damage. So I'll zip along here and collect stuff until I have enough resources. Now see, I'm even having trouble taking out that scrubby little tree with just my fist. So I'm going to build my first stone axe and use that to harvest pretty much everything afterwards. So again, you need 4 stone, 2 fiber, and 2 wood, and you can just click the D-pad. You'll notice that there's a shortcut on your D-pad. That's the button that looks like a cross on the left side of your controller. You click the up on the D-pad and it will produce one. The other option is to move your cursor up there, but that's slow and clunky, so I would learn not to do that from the very beginning. And so now we have an axe. We're going to go down here and use that to continue harvesting. And now we can harvest trees, stone, like that stone, and cactus. And I will warn you, the stone axe will wear out really fast. So always be ready to make your next one. Don't run out of stone, fiber, and wood and not have enough to make your next axe, or you'll be back to collecting stuff by hand until you do. So walk around. You'll notice I'm kind of pivoting around this rock as I'm hacking it. And that is because I don't want anything to walk up behind me, which is a common problem here. Not so bad early game like this, but after a while it gets to be a problem. As you smash a rock, it'll break into pieces about 3 times before you're done. And you're collecting rock, raw iron, and sometimes nitrate and lead and other minerals. Those are all valuable. Perhaps not at this part of the game, but after a few days, those will be really valuable. So do what you can to save all of that. Now I'm going to make another axe, because my first axe, I believe, is already worn out. And so same procedure. What I'm doing there is I'm salvaging that first axe. Again, highlight it with your Y or triangle, and then select scrap or salvage in the menu right there in the center of the screen, and build a new axe and move it down to your bar. You can move it down quickly by pressing in on the right joystick like that. Otherwise you gotta highlight it and drag it. So we'll finish beating this rock and we'll move on to bigger and better things. Okay, we're coming to the first cactus. Cut this down by holding the right trigger button down. You'll get 2 fruit out of the large ones, and the small ones you trip over will give you 1 fruit. I'll check this bag of garbage by hitting the triangle button or the Y button, depending on which controller you've got, and then move on to this tree. I'll cut this tree down. This seems like it's going to take forever, but only because it does early on in the game. Remember, I've got a really low level axe here, and once I wear this axe out, I'll make another one, and it'll be a little bit stronger, and that just keeps going until you, at one point, you get up to level 600, and you can get better axes. This is your stone axe. You'll get an iron axe, and then a steel axe is the best axe. So now I'm going to make another axe. I'm going to scrap my current axe because it's worn out. If you scrap it by highlighting it with the triangle or the Y, and then press the correct D-pad button, it'll scrap it and you'll get 60% of your resources back, like 60% of the stone or wood back. So don't just throw the axe down. Then move your new axe back down into your tool belt, and you'll be good to go. Now I'm making several axes because that's one little trick to level up, is if you've got the resources, make several and then just scrap them all and you'll get 60% back. Be sure to collect plenty of wood, fiber, and stone because you're going to need those to fortify your base at night. Here's another piece of garbage. Let's see if we come out any better. Alright, I got something. So this will again become later in the game. This will be more valuable. It's not nothing you can do with it right now. You'll see these cinder blocks. These are like stone. Just treat them like stone. You can smash those up and collect stone from those. And remember to collect that goldenrod. You can make a healing tea with it later on in the game after you get the campfire and a cooking pot. I should have mentioned, open the menu here with the X on Xbox and the square on PlayStation, and then close it with the B on Xbox and the circle on PlayStation. Notice that I've already got my axe up to a level 24 and I'm just a couple hours into the game. You can do the same trick with weapons, and because the weapons are a completely different class than tools. The cheapest weapon to upgrade is a wood club. So if you have extra wood, make a bunch of wood clubs and scrap them, saving the best one for your own use. Notice the left edge of the screen is showing you what shortcut buttons do what, so that's helpful. So far I've collected fiber, feathers to make arrows, raw iron to make tools later in the game, coal to make gunpowder, and lead that will make the bullets. And then I've got goldenrod to make tea, and of course wood, stone, and fiber. Oh, now there's our first zombie. He has not seen us. You can squat down like this by pushing the right joystick in, and it'll tell you if you've been identified or not. And we have not. He's just up there walking in circles. So we'll leave him alone, go the other direction, because we are not ready to take him on. And I just tripped over a short cactus. I hate those. Those are the first ones I chop out. There's a deer. And of course, it's too early game to tackle that deer. Normally you'd shoot that deer with a bow and arrow, and I can't get close enough to attack him with a stone axe, so I'm gonna let him go and harvest a tree, and I will need lots of wood yet tonight. I plan on building out that cabin tonight, and that way I'll have a place to stay. For now, I'm going to collect some resources. Oh, where'd you come from? I am not quite ready to take her on. I don't really have a real weapon. A stone axe is not really a weapon, it's more of a tool. So I'll have to make a tool before I tackle a zombie. Right now, I'm more focused on collecting resources. Alright, I'm going to dig in this trash and see if there's anything useful in here. So, what have I got? Alright, glue and oil, those are both very valuable. My backpack is full, so I need to scrap something out, and so I'm going to scrap... Oh, wait, I hear something behind me. If you hear something, run. Don't stand there and don't turn around there, because you'll just turn around and get attacked. So run away and then turn around. That's the best way to not get eaten on your first day. So for now, I think I'm just going to hustle over to the cabin here and harvest my way over there and think about how I'm going to fortify this place. Remember, it gets dark and abruptly dangerous at 2200 hours, and it is after 1800 hours now, so I don't have much time to fortify this place. Okay, the first thing I need to do is build up this door a little bit. It's too easy to break in. So you do that using your left trigger. Left trigger will build things up. Right trigger will tear things down, like chop them down. I'm going to look this place over and figure out how to build it up so it's safe. I'm going to put a second floor in up there so I've got a place to scramble up to. Right now I'm going to scrap out these clubs and stone axes, so I've got room to build some wood frames. Ah, there goes a deer. There's lunch getting away. The deer's not a threat. You'll notice I'm squatted down. You do that, or crouch. You do that by pressing the right joystick down, and then you can see if you're hunted or not. Now I've got somebody trying to get in the door, and so I'm hunted. So I need to get scrambling. Alright, I'm going to move what I can out of my quick inventory belt so I've got room to work. And then I'm going to build some wood frames and some wood frame ramps and then some cobblestone frame plates. There's a lot of different shapes you can work with in here, but those are some of the first basic ones that I use when I'm trying to do a quick save my butt build out like this. Notice across the top here, there are a number of categories of different things you can craft. You really need to experiment with that, flip through those categories, and read the description up in the right so it tells you what it is. If it's a frame, you can set it down and then pick it up later, and that's important because that will let you kind of rough something out, and if you don't like it, pick up your frames again so you don't waste the resources. Once you've built them out, filled them in, then you have to destroy them. You can't just pick them up. So see how I can move this around, and then I place it by clicking the left trigger. Now I'm standing on top of it. I'm jumping, looking straight down. I jump straight up using the X or the A, and at the same time I hit the left trigger and it places another one down so I can elevator up, or nerd pole as some people call it, and that lets me get up here where I can work on anything I need to. Just remember not to step off, especially if there's zombies clustered down below. I'm kidding. They'll tear apart the bottom one and you'll fall into them and they'll eat you. This is going to be a quick, rough build. I'm knocking some of the stuff that's in my way out, and then I'm strengthening some of the stuff that I'm going to keep. And then later I'll refine this as I go. But I'm going to use those ramp-shaped blocks to build around the perimeter, and then I will build some flat plates that I won't fill in, and I can shoot arrows down through them at any zombies that are inside the house. Now see, I'm hitting the right trigger button to spin this all around until I get it the way I want it, and then the left trigger button to finally place it. The angle on that is important because that way I can stand on one side of the room and shoot right all the way up to the wall on the other side of the room, and if I put a square block in, I wouldn't be able to do that. Notice that angle. That's important. I'm keeping a solid 2-block perimeter because that gives me someplace to retreat to if a cop gets in the cabin and either vomits toxic waste or explodes, which is what cops do, is they will either spew toxic waste at you or get frustrated and just explode. And if I'm on those frame plates that I can shoot arrows through, those will go out pretty quick. They're easy to replace, and a cop is the only thing that's going to take them out, but I've learned it's better safe than sorry. So I have a 2 solid block perimeter to have a place to fall back to. Now I'm going to build a column that goes up and add a ladder to it so I can scurry up that ladder if I need to in a hurry. I always like to do this with a wall on at least one side, because if I have a ladder just going straight up with nothing as a guide on either side, I tend to fall off, and that's just me. Most people are a little more coordinated. You may have noticed that I only reinforced the bottom 2 blocks on the ladder column. That's so I can conserve resources, and also because I don't think there's going to be any zombies strong enough to damage the 3rd block the first couple of nights. Now I'm building ladders and placing them. You notice I did not place a ladder on the very bottom because zombies can't jump, but if I place one down there, they could climb the ladder and they would end up on the 2nd floor with me. Another thing to note is that I built this exactly 5 blocks high. There's a reason for that. You can step off 5 blocks and you're not going to hurt yourself. On the block 6, if you step off, you'll break your leg. So remember that going forward. Never step off more than 5 blocks, and don't be on block 5 and jump, because that effectively launches you another block in the air, and when you land again you'll break your leg, and then it makes it really hard to, well, you can't run. You have to apply a splint and allow it to heal, and that takes valuable time. Now I'm going to build some cobblestone frame plates, and you do that by going into the crafting menu, selecting the second icon called building, and finding it alphabetically. I'm going to build just enough to fill that gap in the center of the floor. I'll be able to walk across those safely. They're only about 200 points, so a cop can puke them out or explode them out. Notice that I'm going to put those in there and rotate them around until the plate is at the top, and lower the block in. That way it's at the same level as the others, and if I want to place something on the floor, I can do that without it appearing to levitate. Alright, I'm going to get the rest of these frames placed. This one's giving me a hard time. I've been building a while, I'm tired, and I keep going past where it needs to be, and you can't back up. You just have to go through a full rotation again. There we go. Yeah, life in the apocalypse is hard. Now I need to build a trapdoor or a hatch for this hole here. So again, go into your crafting menu, go into the second icon called building, alphabetically look for wooden hatch, build one of those, and then when you place it, place the hinges, which are the 3 bumps on the one side, spin that around till it's opposite of your ladder. Otherwise you won't be able to get out if it's where your ladder is. Now watch how this opens. It'll make more sense. So you come up here and you hit the triangle on a PlayStation or Y on an Xbox to open it. There you see the ladder, and I come up and I walk forward. I've got a place to walk forward 2 blocks. That's important. If you just walk up to a wall, then you have to step sideways, and that's really awkward. So bear that in mind. Here's a quick micro tour of my zombie apocalypse tiny home. I'll be able to fire arrows down through these center plates. I will fill in those wood frames later, but right now I'm not doing it because I want to conserve my wood in case I need them for something else, like upgrading weapons or tools. Now I'm getting kind of tired of carrying this torch around, so I'm going to stick it to the wall, and to do that you simply aim it at the center of a block and pull the left trigger, and then you can walk up to it and pick it up later if you want to as well. I'm going to do a little bit of refinement here because I realize I do have over 600 wood. So I'll put a ramp in here, ramp shape in here, and over there where there's a ramp shape from the original build, I'll put in a full block. There we go. And I'm going to go over here and knock this out because I'm going to put in a stairway coming up here in the next day or two. Now I'm going to look around a little bit. See, I'm trying to find a place to put a storage chest. Now I'm going to put them above this. So to build a storage chest, these are pretty cheap. It's only 10 pieces of wood. Go into either the first or second icon, it's in both, and look for secure storage chest. And I'm going to build 2 of those, and I'll put them above the doorway, or what's going to be the doorway, and I'll spin those around with the right trigger button until I've got them the way I want them, and then I'll place them with the left trigger button. And I like to use these to empty out my inventory, my backpack inventory. Early on, I'll put in 2 of them, one for anything food and water or drink or hydration or medication related. The other one, I will put pretty much everything else. And I'll try and keep my backpack pretty empty because, one, if I go out wandering around and get killed, I could drop the backpack and lose everything. Or the other problem is if I go out to scavenge and loot and my backpack's full, then I can't pick anything up. So I will only carry the essentials with me. And later on in the game, I'll try and only carry half of that. Like I'll leave half my wood, half my stone, half my fiber back here in the storage chest again in case I get killed. I want to be able to come home and resupply a little bit. I don't want to start from 0 again. One quick glance around here to see if I've missed anything that I don't think I have. I'll fill in all those frames later. It is almost daybreak, so it is time to go loot and scavenge. Come back later to see the rest of the build out. Alright, well I hope that helped. If not, leave a question down there in the comment section. If you know of some tips that you can share with the group, the community, then leave that down in there also. And as always, like, subscribe, ring the bell, share it with friends that are also playing 7 Days to Die. And until next time, have a good one. Try and stay alive.